What ho, chaps, how the devil? Right, this is dealing with some, well, for want of a better word, grim shit. So I'm going to have to start out, before I get into dissecting Priti's pointless, decades-late triviality, I'll have to cover something a bit more light-hearted, shall I? Let's do that. So, this got sent to me, and it made me laugh, by the Babylon Bee. It's an excellent satire website. If you haven't seen any of their stuff, I highly recommend checking them out. They're funny. It says, "Unlimited power," cries Trump after absorbing COVID attack. The thumbnail's fantastic. Looks like they wrote this, the week after he got it, after he got diagnosed with it. It says, Washington, D.C., Libs have tried to take down Donald Trump with impeachment, lockdowns and coronavirus. Each of these attempts has backfired, with Donald Trump simply absorbing the attacks and growing more powerful. With their latest assault, Dems conspired with communist China to infect Trump with the coronavirus. They're really going to regret this one though, as Trump once again absorbed the energy of the attack and now has apparently unlocked near invulnerability. "Power! Unlimited power!" he cried as lightning crackled off his fingertips. The power of liberal outrage is a pathway to many abilities most considered to be unnatural. He then claimed to have unlocked the ability to heal people and bring them back from the dead through his newfound powers, though he said he's still working out the kinks as he accidentally resurrected Hitler as a zombie. I am sick of hearing about Hitler. I've heard more about Hitler in the last fucking 4 years than I heard in 8 years at school. He also quickly struck down the Green New Deal with his ultimate power, saying, "I have waited a long time for this moment, my green little friend," before blasting the proposal into charred scraps with his lightning fingers. Ha 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 ha! Trump has apparently acquired so much power that he dismissed the Senate, saying he no longer needs them to appoint justices. "I am the Senate," he said. Yeah, quality. So that made me chuckle. Thumbnail's fantastic. And this one of the lads sent me this on my Facebook group yesterday, and I seen Bert covered it as well on his YouTube channel. But, I mean, you really can't make this shit up, can you? Arts Council gave a £215,000 coronavirus recovery money to a solo drag act. I really hope that thumbnail's not accurate, and that isn't the solo drag act in question, because if so, I assumed that the point of drag was to try and make yourself look like a woman. Like, I always thought that was the point. And you're like, isn't that the aim? If there is an aim to drag, surely it is to make yourself look like a woman. And if that is the case, this hairy-arsed behemoth is failing miserably in his primary aim. It said the Arts Council has made some questionable choices about who receives their recovery fund grants. The council boasts on its website that to date we have announced £334 million of investment with much more to come. But where's all the money gone? Obviously they have to release these things, don't they, if you put in a Freedom of Information request. It says, scouring through the grants, Guido Fawkes noticed that the Arts Council gave £215 grand to Legato Chocolat, a solo drag act from Brighton. Legato Chocolat is a private limited company claiming to have 2 employees owned by a man called George Ikediashi, who is the company's sole performer. His round 2 grant was 86th highest in the country out of 589 grants handed out. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Oh my fucking god, it is. It actually is him as well. Fuck me. There you go then. Trying to pass as a woman, fucking mission failed. It looks like Lenny Henry first thing on the morning. If he had a gold sparkly dressing gown, that's fucking Lenny Henry with a hangover. Are you having a bubble bath? And he's doing soy face, even better. Soy face Lenny Henry. Right, I just need to take my eyeballs out and give them a good scrub. It really is shocking. Everything is wrecked in Britain, isn't it? Everything is wrecked. Everything is like a political football. Like, the civil service, the House of Lords, the upper echelons of government are just basically all far left ideologues at this point. They've all been to the same schools and they've all learned the same shite. Critical race theory and all the fucking bollocks that we keep reading day in, day out about serving the marginalised and informing outcomes and all this fucking bollocks. Like, you can tell by the deliberately obscure dictionary all of these twats use that they all read the same shit. Because they all talk the same. Deliberately obscure language with shit buzz. It's just a word soup. But that is disgraceful. And again, I think we all know why this solo act got 215 grand. You know, he'd be driving in a Porsche now. I mean, what's he going to spend 215 grand on? It's not like having a small family-owned restaurant or something and you're going to expand. Unless he clones himself. A solo drag act has no capacity to expand, so it is pointless throwing money at him. What's he going to spend it on? What? Niceties for himself. Unless he needs a few more sparkly dresses, or he needs to pop to Boots and buy 215 grand's worth of garish shit makeup, neon fucking lipstick. I think he's good. He's good for work. So that 215 grand's getting spent on a fucking gold-plated deluxe fanny blaster that he doesn't need because he hasn't got one. Unbelievable. On to the serious note. So this tweet by Priti Patel: under changes laid in Parliament today, EU citizens coming to our country will be subject to the same firm and fair criminality rules that apply to non-EU citizens. We are taking back control of our borders. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds good. Those of you that seen the video I made about the Manchester bomber, I'll put a link in the description. This stuff fills me with rage because it is criminal negligence on a colossal scale. This grim platitude serves only to fuel my titanic rage because they've literally been killing children for decades and nobody's done anything about it. That's not hyperbole. There's going to be hundreds of murders committed by known criminals that move to the UK from Europe. Hundreds. But the one that stands out, because I personally remember it, is this one. Alice Gross. You remember that one? Some of you will. This is what I always tell you about these. The real problem nowadays is there's so much information out there. People don't remember the big ones. But I remember the big ones. Because I've been reading the papers every day for 15 years, 20. And the big ones stick in your mind. Alice Gross. Well, that's her. A kid. Just a kid. Who was brutally murdered by this twat, Arnis Zalkans, who's got a fucking head like a fridge freezer. I could have told you he was off his box by fucking looking at him. But it says, he would have faced charges if he'd lived. Oh, well, that'll cheer everybody up. Yeah, cheers. I'm sure that makes her friends and family feel fucking over the moon. So he was a 41-year-old Latvian who hanged himself a week after he murdered her, because obviously knew the coppers were going to get onto him, and he had the decency to top himself before we had to pay for his room and board for fucking 40 years. He was working on a labourer on a building site in nearby Alworth, so no requirement for him to be in the UK at all, right? A labourer. We've got plenty of unskilled, poorly educated people of our own we need to fucking employ. There's no need to be importing them from Latvia, and there's certainly no need to be importing them from Latvia when the guy that's just moved to the UK in 2007 was already in prison for murdering his fucking wife. You can't make this shit up, can you? You would think, if I was writing this, you'd think, Bootneck, this is just some sort of hilarious satire. It isn't. It's a true story. A psychologist said he was a raving fucking lunatic, and he murdered his wife and buried her in a shallow grave. He confessed to it, said she was a lesbian, and she started going out without him. So he twatted her over the head with a metal pole and stabbed her. Then he killed her, finished killing her, smoked a fag, and then went home, sleeping for 2 nights before reporting her missing to the police. He also shot her 2 years earlier, and his mother-in-law blamed him, but he claimed the wife had tried to kill herself. And then she said she was shot by teenagers. And then obviously to do the obligatory BBC, he's a good fella really, of course we should feel sorry for him, he's sound. So, there's that. This little girl is not breathing anymore. She's gone. Because the British government saw fit to impose rules where if somebody chops his wife's fucking head off and keeps it in his fridge, then decides when he gets out of prison that he wants to move a few 100 miles to a completely foreign country where he's never paid taxes. We just have to let him in. And if he wants to be a labourer on a British building site, even though there's fucking millions of unskilled labourers that need work in England and lots of them haven't chopped their wives up, there's nothing they can do about it. So Priti can fucking call this a win all she likes. It's the same as the Manchester bomber. The murder, the blood of thousands of young people in the UK is on the hands of the government and the civil service, who for decades have been criminally negligent and let fucking human scum move to the UK with absolutely no accountability whatsoever. You could be an oxygen thief of the highest order, a pedo, a rapist, a mass murderer, and if you fucking finally get out of prison in some shithole country, like for example, I mean seriously, who the fuck gets 7 years? 7 years? For murder? Kill your wife in cold blood and you get 7 years? Yeah, because in fucking scruffy Eastern European countries they don't want to pay to feed these fucking people, so he chopped his wife up, fucking moved to England. You would think I was making this shit up, wouldn't you? And again, well, this is why it's so hard to sell, isn't it? Because when you point this out, if you're in a bar talking to some lefty arsehole and you say, oh yeah, well what about all the people who kill their wives and kids and fucking move to England? And they go, oh, that's just the Daily Mail. That's just the Daily Mail. It's not. It happened. It's on the BBC. It's one of fucking thousands. And this useless little fat fucker and a mate are criminally negligent. They want to find the civil servants, like I said about the Manchester bomber, who moved to England when Stevie Bastard Wonder could have read his fucking application and went, whoa, this cunt's gonna blow everybody up. And it happened anyway. And then they kill your kids. And they all go, oh yeah, very sad, very thoughts and prayers, yeah, cheers. And then they go back to the mansion and they wedge your thumb firmly up the fucking arse. And they get back to business as usual. It's absolutely fucking shocking. So Priti can suck my fucking plums. That's what I think of Priti gobbing off about, yeah, we finally put some fucking rules in place 40 years too late. Doesn't bring anyone back from the dead, does it, Priti? That's me. I hope you're as pissed off as I am. Fuck off.